The construction industry has been hit hard by the economic downturn. Contractors, builders, and their families want something that shows a way out. They need hope and are looking with increasingly anxious eyes to Uncle Sam. In response, our government has taken steps to revitalize construction, beginning with last year's passage of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. With $137 billion of the $787 billion package allocated for construction, there was an expectation that much of the crisis would be alleviated. Then reality hit. The obvious had been overlooked. Few contractors had the experience and understanding of how to access the thousands of ARRA-funded opportunities. As a result, many of those much-needed contracts were never awarded. And just like the year before, when $47 billion worth of government contracts weren't awarded because no one bid on them, the lack of instructive information for contractors blunted the effect of the stimulus money. Construction firms caught in a declining economy, and without the know-how that would allow them to access government contracts, have been forced to take drastic action, cutting overhead, laying off employees, and reducing profit margins. Over the past year, private work has become hyper-competitive, with several times more builders than normal bidding on what little work has been available. Federal construction contracting, on the other hand, is the only segment of the construction industry that remains well-funded and active. Those contractors that are registered and qualified to bid on federal construction projects have been rewarded with an unprecedented level of activity and opportunity. For example, in September 2009, the last month of the government's fiscal year, there were over 770 federal construction opportunities posted at www.fbo.gov, Uncle Sam's public website for all federal purchases over $25,000. With a limited number of qualified bidders and all sizes and types of projects available, many of the contracts had little or no competition. To put this in perspective, consider these facts. The Bureau of Labor Statistics estimated that there were approximately 884,000 construction establishments in the United States in 2008. In order to do work for the federal government, contractors must be registered in CCR, the Central Contractor Registry. There are only 20,000 construction companies registered in CCR. That means that of 880,000 contracting entities, only 20,000, or about 2.25%, are qualified to bid on federal construction opportunities. There is essentially 97.75% less construction competition bidding on government contracts. Now, why is that? Surveys show that there are three primary reasons, and these might be the very concerns that have kept you from pursuing this highly profitable field. The red tape. Admittedly, doing work for Uncle Sam requires more paperwork and regulations to deal with. However, with some reading, a little training, and knowing where to find the answers to your question, this problem is easily solved. Like getting a contractor's license, it's really nothing more than following instructions and doing the required tasks. Getting paid. Old stories of problems getting paid persist like old wives' tales. What many have failed to realize is that years ago our government recognized the problem and fixed it with the passage of the Prompt Payment Act. Progress payments are made monthly based on a percentage completed, and the government is legally obligated to pay you in a timely manner. What's timely? Under the Prompt Payment Act, any partial billing must be paid in 14 days or less, and final billings are paid in 30 days or less. With the adoption of the WAWF and other electronic platforms, progress payments are often made within 10 days or less. And in the few cases where the government does take longer than they're allowed, they have to pay you interest on the money you're owed. No federal experience. While the government does frequently ask for references and experience on previous federal projects, in most cases your experience from the private sector is considered equal. Also of note, in 49 of the 50 states, your local business license is accepted for nearly all federal contracts. In the world of economic stimulus-funded contracts, the federal government really wants to work with you. Now let's take a look at the world of construction funding. First, let's review the private sector. Over the past few years, private and commercial construction spending has consistently declined. From a high in 2006 of over $912 billion, by 2009 it was about $620 billion, a drop of over 32% in just 3 years. In the meantime, federal spending has been increasing every year for the last 10 years, and by almost $15 billion every year for the past 6 years. The federal government spent $317 billion on construction last year and will spend even more this year. Now, in addition to the ARRA construction funds, the government is spending billions of dollars on BRAC, the Base Realignment and Closure Program, and the Hurricane and Storm Damage Risk Reduction System, not to mention countless other military and civil works construction programs that are being implemented nationally to further stimulate the economy. And now, with President Obama's recently announced $3.8 trillion budget for next fiscal year, this massive spending on construction will continue. So let's rehash the numbers. There are 884,000 contractors going after $620 billion worth of private work. and only 20,000 contractors able to bid on $317 billion worth of government work. Are you beginning to see the incredible opportunity here? In our next video, you'll learn exactly what you need to do to join the 2.25% of contractors who are registered and qualified to bid on federal construction contracts. You will learn the best methods of organizing your business structure for maximum protection and financial benefit, how to get registered and qualified to bid on federal construction contracts, and where you can find many of the government contract opportunities that are coming out every day. With Uncle Sam as a client and access to the flood of federal construction funds pouring out of Washington, the smartest contractors will do more than simply survive the recession. They're certain to flourish. Sign up at gcexperts.com to be notified when our next video is released.